Good morning, everybody.
Hi.
How are you? I'm so glad that Trevor's back. We haven't been together in almost 6 weeks.
It has been a while.
I know. I was out of town, and then Trevor was out of town, so I'm so glad we're back together this morning. We have a few things to talk to you about, but one of them that we're going to talk to you about is a few updates in the market, and then where Trevor was actually 2 weeks ago when she wasn't able to be here. She was at the National Builders Show. So, but first, Trevor, let's talk about the market, because we always give some sort of market update, and this time we want to talk about how our appraisals have been coming back.
Yes, and I mean, just like within the last 2 weeks, this has been the topic at our sales meetings too. I had a transaction that the appraiser came in $40,000 low. And what do you do? That's like a stressful situation for both the buyer and the seller. So it's kind of a little reflection on what's going on in our market because there's such low inventory. Sellers are holding prices, maybe sometimes going a little on the high side. And what happens when it doesn't appraise? Well, in my transaction, the borrower is very strong, and they are able to come up on the price a little bit. The seller is able to come down on the price a little bit, not all the way, but it's going to work out. Now, once that closes, then we have a higher, a higher value of a comp. So it's an interesting.
It's really an interesting dynamic.
Yes.
Because it is true. I mean, as soon as it closes, that's very valuable to the rest of the market.
Very valuable.
I have not had one at 40,000 less, but I had one at 4,000 less. And otherwise, I haven't had one in almost 2 years. So when I first started, I had one come back, but really not in 2 years that's come back less. And this was an FHA buyer for me, so it was a first-time home buyer, and which means it must appraise for the value of the sales price. So, and it didn't. So in this case, the sellers adjusted the price. I was working with the buyer.
That's so good.
But it is tricky.
It's tricky, and it's good to have people, experienced real estate professionals to help you navigate that. And also, what I'm seeing too is just last night, one of my buyers made an offer on a home, and it wasn't a strong offer, and it was contingent on them selling their home. Well, the seller ended up countering back, and we put it together. So sellers are now considering taking contingent offers. So that's great.
And I will just back up 1 second. If you haven't heard that word contingent in the use of real estate, because I will get asked sometimes, it just means that someone has to sell in order to buy. Now, that can all happen pretty smoothly, but it means that this one must close before they can close on the next one. And to Trevor's point, I had one that closed yesterday that was a contingent. I was representing the seller, and the buyer had to sell one to buy this one. They sold one yesterday morning, and they bought this one yesterday afternoon, or closed on it, so to speak, yesterday afternoon.
It's great because, that can be a tricky, transaction, but it's so great that it's working.
Yes.
And sellers, buyers that really have to sell to move forward, it can happen, and it's happening now in our market. So,
but it's really nice because I feel like that many sellers would not even have entertained a contingent offer a year ago because truly they didn't have to.
That's
and
right.
Now it's not that they have to. Now it's that there is so little inventory, and they just feel, I guess, there's almost like a tolerance level in the market that hasn't been there, that things are going to sit a little longer, or we have to get creative with how we move forward with an offer.
Great. Yes.
Yeah. And the other thing we talked about that we wanted to reference was due diligence and earnest money. So if you bought or sold a home even just 5 years ago, you probably did not put down or very little due diligence. And now, if you do not put down any due diligence, you're probably not getting that home if you were to buy another one. Or if you're selling one, you're probably going to expect your buyer to put down due diligence.
And let's explain what the difference is. So earnest money is, an amount of good faith money, but it is put in an escrow account with an attorney, and it sits there until you close. If for some reason the buyer wants to terminate, it comes back to the buyer. Due diligence money is written from the buyer to the seller directly, and it is non-recoverable. So it's a really good sign that the buyer is committed and is not going to easily walk away from the transaction.
Right.
So and that amount can be, it depends, of course, but we've seen as low as $500 all the way up to $20,000. And so we're seeing a lot more sellers asking it. If they don't see due diligence money on the contract, they're going to counter back and ask for it.
And what we talked about that was interesting is even if a home is contingent, then very often the buyer will feel that comfortable and confident that they want to this house they're putting an offer on, even though they have to sell their house. So they'll still put a significant amount of due diligence. And when I say significant, I don't mean $20,000 for every transaction, but I do mean a couple of thousand. Even though they've got a lot of work to do maybe to get their house sold, they are that passionate about moving forward. So it is kind of a nice reassurance to that seller that this buyer is committed to making their first transaction go through to then making this next transaction go through.
Yes, very good.
All right, so let's transition to something completely fun for a few minutes, and that would be the Builder Show. So Trevor went to the Builder Show in Las Vegas, and she was there a week before last?
Yeah.
And she brought us videos and pictures and color of the year and a few things to talk about. So first tell us why you go and who Tony is and why it's important to him.
Yeah, so Tony Foote is general contractor, my husband, Foote and Moorfield.
Yeah.
And we have gone, I would say, the last 5 years out there, and we spend a good 4 days, which doesn't seem like a lot, but you pack it in. And he really likes to go to get the cutting edge of what's coming, what products are out there. I mean, we just learned so much. So, in fact, I asked him what his takeaways were, and they're kind of different than mine.
All right, let's hear Tony's first. What are Tony's?
Well, he said he noticed really a lot of integration in smart homes, and through the years, there have been a lot of that, more and more. But now it's everything's controlled by your phone, including lighting and your heating. Of course, music.
I even see smart appliances.
I was just saying.
Oh, you were? Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Appliances, your fridge is all interactive. You can, turn on your oven and, why you don't need all that, I don't know, but it's
Saturday
so
morning. I'm
smart.
just going to lay in the bed and preheat my oven for my breakfast, right?
Yeah. So he noticed there was a lot more of that. Tiny homes are, they're so popular and big. Lots of, we walked in a bunch of them. They're kits that, they.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And using alternative materials for like exterior cladding, for example, more durable synthetic products. And he did notice a lot more foreign companies are certainly in our market, and a lot of the folks from China have lots of faucets, sinks, toilets, all these things that they will work with, not small builders but big builders, and they ship things over in containers, and They're now starting to have distribution. They're buying warehouses here in the U.S. and starting to be able to distribute in the U.S. to smaller builders. But we really appreciated going to the USA local owned.
And one of your favorite was the gas lanterns,
Yes,
right?
I was telling Sterling the Bevelo company. Gas lighting to me is amazing, and it just changes the whole outside of your home. They're so beautiful, and they're out of Louisiana, New Orleans, and they so we got to talk to Jim Bevelo himself, and just a great company. His dad started it, and it's beautiful.
So Trevor brought us some pictures and videos, and I bet some of the things that you took pictures and videos of are some of your favorite things. So you want to let everybody look at some of those. Oh my gosh. That would have to be in a powder room or half bath.
Right. So where do you put all that in?
Oh
yeah.
What is that, Trevor?
That was just
lighting.
And
okay.
exterior lighting.
Yard, like low voltage lighting. Okay. Ooh.
Yeah, lots of fireplaces and gas. Look at all this tile. The tile. Oh, beautiful.
You know what? It's really simple colors though. It's not wild and crazy colors for this stuff. I like that.
Right. A lot of the
kind of traditional in nature.
A lot of the counters, I mean, you don't see dark granite.
Okay.
Everything's light.
See, that looks very retro, this tile. I like it.
I was telling Sterling that I would love for her to have been by my side going through this, because you would love it.
Lowe's.
And take away so much.
Yes.
Design. Yeah, Lowe's had a great
this
interactive
is
display.
Holy moly!
Yeah,
the
that's how big it
center.
is. Yeah, International Builder Show.
Oh, look how the clean lines on this kitchen.
Clean lines.
Gosh, fresh.
Open shelving. In your kitchen, and that's so Vegas, right? Lots of bright accent wallpapers.
Okay. More fire pits.
Neat fire pits, yes.
Now, all of these are gas. None of these are wood burning. Maybe because of where you were, or maybe that's the trend is to do gas.
I think it's trend, yeah.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
okay, so this was my
colors.
favorite. This was the Sherwin-Williams.
Okay.
So what they had was a lot of designers there talking and showing how
to integrate the color of the year.
Yep. And the color of the year, is breezy and blissful. And
we'll have to show that.
Yeah, we'll show that when we finish that. But they were so smart. They gave
there you and Tony are with Elvis.
They gave out nail polish of the color of the year. I thought that was so smart.
Gosh. You're still with Elvis.
I'm still with Elvis. Okay, that
was
neat.
What is that?
Like topiary, that's
artificial topiary.
Artificial.
Okay, tell me what I see right here.
Okay, that's an automatic door, a pantry door. So when you walk up to it, it automatically opens. And Tony thought that was neat.
Oh my goodness!
So that's the Sphere. So we stayed at the Venetian, and we actually went in the Sphere to see a great show. I don't know if that little footage is on there, but it's amazing. It's huge, and
I love all these rich textures here. That's beautiful. Warm. It has kind of a California vibe there almost with those.
Yeah, so very neutral. And then, the blue that's the color of the year is very muted. It's not.
That's a pretty panel door.
Well, that was, Tony enjoyed talking to people too, because he had some trouble with a couple of the doors, and it's good for him to talk about. And, the salespeople there are great, and connections are great. So that's,
so what I'm taking away is that these colors are much warmer than the grays of 10 years ago.
Yes,
don't you think?
yes.
Everything has a more brown undertone, a kind of a richer, deeper color than the lighter
Natural.
coolers.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, drawer organizers.
So
Oh my
nice.
gosh.
Oh my gosh, so nice. I like that it's pegboards. Oh my gosh, isn't that nice? I wish I had that in my kitchen.
I know, me too.
Gosh, those pools are even pretty.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Gosh,
yeah,
I
that's
do feel
pretty
like
with
everybody loves a nook rest at their back door.
Isn't that pretty though? The butcher block.
And I do
Yeah, look at that back
see that
splash.
natural stone. One slab running up the back is very
Yes.
popular. I
Oh,
cannot-
and that's it's a porcelain.
Okay.
Lots of and really light colors.
Calcutta is
Um,
still popular. That's I don't know what kind of material that is. Not marble, but pretty, very pretty. Now that's bringing a little cooler color into it, but they mix it with the warm colors where it used to stay pretty much cool, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the flooring. Lots
Yeah,
of
those are nice.
pre-engineered, hardwoods.
Are
and,
they really just people not
yeah.
interested in dealing with the maintenance of wood
Right.
anymore? Gosh, I feel like tile was so wild a few years ago.
And look
or
how
just
yes.
Subway, just white plain Subway, but these are really beautiful. Probably some natural stone integrated in that. Ooh, I love this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Gosh, it'd be pretty on your backsplash or in your shower, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Glossy, okay. Most of that tile was glossy that we saw on some of your pictures. Very little
Yes.
matte. Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of blues
Yeah,
accent.
that
But
doesn't.
you're right. There's, takeaway is no big pop of pink colors or
very
green.
little red, very
Mhm.
little orange, very little. Yes, honestly, not a lot of brown either. Blacks, whites, blues. I feel like is what it is. Or maybe that's what you picked.
Yeah, I know. That's maybe
That's
'cause
your
me. Yeah,
comfort. Yeah, that's funny. Well, very cool. Okay, now show everybody what the color of the year was, because I thought this was a really cool takeaway.
Oh, yeah.
So Sherwin-Williams.
They gave these away. You've got a lot of things that they're giving away, bags and, squishy ball. I mean, everything to advertise their company. But this was so smart. They made a nail polish out of the color of the year. So it is, what is it?
Upward.
Upward.
Yep, upward. So it's kind of
Breezy and blissful.
breezy and blissful. For those of you who can't see it very well, so this color is a real pale blue. It kind of has a hint of a gray undertone, but it really reminds me of what would be on a porch ceiling of an old beadboard historic home porch. Like that's a similar color to what this is. It's really pretty. It's not a Carolina blue. It's like a little more
here's a better
steely, icy blue.
Picture of it
Okay,
too.
yeah.
And this is neat. Of course, Sterling knew what it was, but I hadn't seen one of these. It's a peel and stick, so you can take the sample of this and put it on the wall, so you don't have to paint, do that. So it's kind of neat.
Y'all will appreciate this. So Trevor tends to use Sherwin-Williams paints, and I tend to use Benjamin Moore paint. All are great, but just kind of our comfort zone and preference. So she made sure to tell me that Sherwin-Williams display was better than Benjamin Moore's display.
It really was.
Well, thanks for sharing all this with us today, Trevor. I think this is really cool. Kind of the takeaway of warmer colors and really nothing extremely bold. Kind of more subdued, comfortable
Now, with the
materials.
wallpaper, that's where
Where
people are
people-
going, in a small room or in the laundry room.
Not the bedroom, not something you use every day, but. Well, y'all, I just realized what time it was. I know we have to run and let Roger come back on. So thank you all so much for having us this morning. I'm glad to have Trevor back. I'm glad to be back with her, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. Y'all have a great day.